the world needs this. This is the moment in time that the world needs to know you can heal trauma without talking about it.
Hello, I am Michele Phillips, and welcome to this week's episode of Write Your Outcome. I am really excited. I have two guests this week, and they are going to share their wisdom and their life with you so that you have tools that you can use immediately going forward. Welcome, Melissa and Billie.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I am so excited for you to be here. Before we get into the juicy information, I like to read my guest bios, as you know, so I don't miss anything. So I've combined these two wonderful power women who have so much experience, but I've taken what I think is important, and then we're going to get into the details. Billie Aadmi, from saving lives to healing souls, Billie's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary and transformational. Billie is a single mom to two beautiful children and a beloved fur baby. With a Bachelor of Education and a Bachelor of Human Kinetics, Billie has been a dedicated police officer since 2005 and is also a passionate real estate investor. As the CEO and founder of Co-Mindspire Inc. and co-founder of Amplify Impact Academy, which is what we're going to talk about today, Billie takes pride in her role as the brain trainer. You are singing my song, empowering others to elevate their mindset for lifelong success. Melissa Deely is one of the trainers and founders of Amplify Impact Academy. Her journey into mind-body healing began in a completely different world. After spending 24 years in the corporate sector, she knew she was ready for something different. While she enjoyed her career, the mergers and the changes changed her path. She no longer wanted to work for someone else, and she had no idea what her next step would be. However, she was open to being guided. Melissa pursued training in NLP, I love NLP, timeline therapy, which we are going to unpack more today, hypnotherapy, and NLP results coaching, techniques that allowed her to help clients overcome their unconscious programming and achieve lasting change. So I'm really excited to talk to these two powerful women. But before I ask them a question, I'm going to read the first thing that pops up when I went to their website because it really resonated with me. Clear the screen. Stop anxiety from hijacking your most important moments. You know, that moment when anxiety hits your body right before it matters most. We teach you how to clear the screen, a proven process that helps your nervous system release anxiety in minutes so you can show up as your calm, clear, most powerful self. Let's talk about this. Before we get into this fabulous technology and these things that you're teaching, I want to talk about what were the moments in your lives, and let's start with Billie. What was the moment in your life that you said, okay, I want something? I mean, you're a mom, you're a police officer, you're a real estate person. What got you into this work?
Really, it was to save myself on a soul level because I had it all, right? I had the government job, the pension, the benefits, the marriage, the kids, and yet I felt like I was dead inside. And then my life slowly started falling apart because I wasn't happy. And I know now is because I wasn't living my true purpose and my true mission on this planet. And, you know, as much as I thought my main goal was being a mom, I'm great at that. And I love that. But there was always that little voice. There's something more, Billie, here for you. And of course, everything happens for a reason. The universe set up a whole series of events that really led me to this point of there's got to be an easier way for us to heal. Because I know I had unresolved emotions. Being a police officer for 20 years, you've seen a lot of trauma. I've had my own childhood trauma. Who hasn't? And when I found this, you know, I wanted to be a coach. I really wanted to help people. That's why I wanted to be a cop in the first place. I came across timeline therapy. And when I found out you can heal trauma without talking about it, my curiosity instantly, I've got this insatiable drive to learn more. And it all started with a hypnotherapist, actually. Because she put me through a session. I was like, why do I feel so different? She's like, well, we tapped into your unconscious mind. And I literally, Michelle was like, what the hell does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Yes. That's how little I knew about this work. And of course, that led me to timeline therapy. And now, you know, it's our mission now to get this message out that you don't need to go to therapy for 30 years, right? That's what I was doing. You don't have to talk about the trauma because in fact, that deepens the neurology and that keeps the past alive. And the past has already happened. And now all we need to do is allow the unconscious mind to upload the learnings. What did you need to learn in that traumatic event? And it could be as simple as I'm safe. I am loved. I am worthy. Those simple learnings. And as soon as that happens, the unconscious mind releases it.
I feel better just listening to you talk about it.
It's this blanket of peace that just comes over people. And it's like, wow, it's quiet up here. There's no more chatter. And now that's why, like, I know this is my mission, because as you know, I'm brand new to this work. I've only been doing it for a couple of years. And yet I am so embodied in it now that I know that the world needs this. This is the moment in time that the world needs to know you can heal trauma without talking about it. And we got to start with anxiety, because anxiety is an epidemic. And that's why we started with Clear the Screen.
Yeah, I say we're in a emotional meltdown right now, and I love that you're bringing this to light. And I'm going to introduce Melissa in a minute. But it's, you know, I always say it doesn't have to take a long time, but we have this old model, so we are going to break this down. But let me talk to you, Melissa. Tell me, what was the moment where you got, you know, you left your corporate job? How did you get to this? And then I want to know how you know each other.
So I had left my corporate job and been guided into health and wellness through both my daughters having concussions and just guiding their healing journey and realizing people needed more support on a healing journey. And that led me back to school. And I became an integrative health practitioner. And I loved that work, helping people heal when they'd been told by the medical system, oh, there's nothing more we can do with you, or it's all in your head, or there's nothing wrong with you. All of those things that people have been told when they know something is wrong with them, because they're their own best doctor. They've lived in their body their whole life and they're following their intuition, looking for answers. And then I would write them wellness protocols. We'd run the labs. We'd figure out the nutrient deficiencies, the toxic load, the imbalances, and I'd write them the wellness protocol. And some people would follow it perfectly and feel so great and be so pleased with their results. And others would have the best of intentions and then fall off. And I'm like, is something wrong with me? Am I not a good coach? How come some people can do it and other people can't? And then when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And that's when a naturopathic doctor reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, I love what you're doing. Would you like to learn about the world's 4 most powerful mind-body healing modalities? So of course I said yes. And I got on the call with her and she started talking about programming, the unconscious mind programming that happens in childhood. And that was my aha. I was like, oh my goodness, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with their programming. So of course I signed up for these trainings, and then the rest is history, because the moment I started learning about the power of their unconscious mind, like Billie, I had this insatiable curiosity to keep learning, because there is so much more to us than we've ever been led to believe. And this is how we do life the easy way, is tapping into the other 90% and knowing.
I have my easy button too.
Oh, I got an easy button. Oh, I love it. It's the unconscious mind.
Yeah. If you're listening, we're both holding up easy buttons. I'm sorry, we got distracted.
And the key point here is letting people know that we can rewire our programming.
I am such a big believer of this. And before we go on, I want to, for the listeners, just make sure we're all on the same page. So you didn't say the word neuro-linguistic program, but I said it when I was reading your bio. So I'd like you to define neuro-linguistic programming. And then I also want to talk about the timeline therapy. So why don't Melissa, define neuro-linguistic programming, which I'm very familiar with, and then I'll have Billie talk about timeline therapy. So if you can each just define those things for us.
Neuro-linguistic programming is literally when we are looking at the linguistic programming of our neurology, of our mind. And so what I mean by that is the words that we hear, the words that we say to ourselves all matter. And those words, the language gets programmed into our mind in the age of like 0 to 7 years old, when we're very young. And our unconscious mind has many jobs to do. It's busy. And so once it creates the program, if the program works, it keeps running it until it doesn't work anymore. And so we get into our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, and we hit a wall and we wonder why it's no longer working. It's because your inner 5-year-old isn't qualified to run your adult life. And so that's where, again, we go in and we change the programming. We're looking at the linguistics of it and language and teaching people how language is so important, how the language coming out of our mouth is directed by the thoughts in our head, which is also language. And so we can change that programming, and it's all happening in our mind, in our neurology.
Beautiful. Thank you for that explanation. For anyone listening, I just want you to think about any habitual events that happen in your life. Sometimes people say the same thing happens to me over and over. And it's usually because of this old, I call them old, habit tapes, but neuro-linguistic programming, tapes that play from our childhood. And I always picture an old fashioned cassette tape where I'm going to rip the tape out and say, this is your farewell tour. So we are able to change the tape, so to speak.
Yes.
So thank you, Melissa. Billie, tell us about timeline therapy and how it can be quicker, which is so exciting to me.
Yeah. Before I go there, I'm just going to weave in where it comes in with the neurolinguistic programming. So as Melissa said, neurolinguistic programming literally is using the language of your mind to obtain your desired results. So we always ask people, is your life the results that you want? And if the answer is no, it's because the programming needs to be updated. Just like we update our phones, right? We need to update the programming. Same concept. So Melissa alluded to the 4 world's most powerful modalities. And these are the 4 that we teach in our academy. And we teach it in a very specific way because we deal with the past first, then the present, then the future. And the way we do that is we use timeline therapy to clear the past, all the unresolved emotions, limiting beliefs, all that. We use neurolinguistic programming to deal with the present. If there's any other strategies and programs that are running that are no longer serving and we need to rewire them. And then we use hypnotherapy for the future because we use it for future behavior because a suggestion that we plant into the unconscious mind, now the soil is nice and healthy because we've cleared the past. Any other, kind of apps that are running in the mind that aren't working anymore, we've deleted those. And now we can put those suggestions in for the future. The most powerful piece of that, Michele, is the timeline therapy. We've seen it enough. It is where the most change happens. And it's because it's like carrying this bag of emotional baggage that's blocking us from moving forward because imagine like going up a mountain with this bag of 600 pounds. If you could release that, it would be so much easier to move forward. And that's what when we're healing, we're not carrying our baggage with us allows us to do. So what we do with timeline therapy is we go through the top 7 negative emotions in a very specific order, which is anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, rage, and shame. And we do it in a specific order. It's a very specific script. We kind of use the analogy that if NLP and hypnotherapy had a baby, it would be timeline therapy. It's a conscious, unconscious integration. So we're bringing what's in the unconscious, like all this past trauma, unresolved emotions, back to the conscious mind. So now it can release it and now we can move forward. So once we've done that, we can usually identify there's usually a theme of the 4 core wounds that all of humanity shares. And those are unworthy, unlovable, not good enough, or powerless. And from there, then we will figure out, okay, well, what is the major theme? A lot of them, some people will be, it's powerless. And that was one of my big limiting beliefs, or not feeling worthy. So then we'll release those limiting beliefs in that session. And it takes one session. Like, this is not, you have to come and do sessions for weeks or months or years even. One session. Mind you, this is a lifestyle. And because, like a personal trainer, just like a brain trainer, you don't go to the gym one time and say, okay, I'm healthy for life. You want to do this once a month. You want to keep it clear because you're not only just releasing trauma from this lifetime. You can release trauma from past lifetimes. You can release trauma generationally. And when you release it generationally, so I get goosebumps when I'm doing this, like truth bumps, you're releasing it for the future as well. So that now my children don't have to deal with any of my unresolved stuff that I don't deal with. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful, very gentle, yet extremely powerful, powerful technique.
And I think, listening to you, what I've always believed is if you're digging up anything in your present is because you're focusing on it. So if I'm focusing on trauma from my past, I'm reactivating it in the present. Yes. So that's the only reason it gets to stay alive. So someone that says, oh my God, I wasted X amount of my life, years with that man. And, now he's married to somebody else. I'm like, oh my God, he's been married to that other person longer than you've been, he's married to her longer than he was married to you. But you keep opening that scab, right? Yeah. And you keep bringing it into the future versus like what you're all saying is clear it, accept it, and then create the new path. So my question then for you, and we'll go to Melissa, we'll go back and forth, is are you working one-on-one? Are you working in classrooms? How do you bring this to your folks?
So yes, the first time someone does timeline therapy, we work with them one-on-one. And we also have, because we're trainers and our main focus is the academy and training people to become practitioners, we have graduates of our programs that also offer timeline therapy to people that come into our world where we might be, running trainings and busy and we don't have time to do the one-on-one ourselves. Then we will refer out to one of our graduates. And we also highly recommend people come through the training for themselves, even if they never want to be a practitioner, because that's the difference between, feeding someone for life, i.e. you learn this tool, you become part of our team-like community and have access to all the other graduates to do your timeline therapy with for the rest of your life at no charge, or working one-to-one and just having the one experience of timeline therapy, which is, giving the person the fish to eat for a day.
Or teaching them fish.
I think every single person should go, this should be prerequisite for life.
Exactly. We actually life skills. That's what we say.
Yes. Yeah. That's why we called it Quantum Life Mastery School. Like, if you want to learn how to master life, you want the instruction manual for life. These are the skills, and it comes complete with an easy button, which is your unconscious mind. And the key of what we teach people is how to access the unconscious mind. Because again, when I first started, I didn't even know how to access my unconscious mind. I just thought it was me running my body. That's what its role was. People need to have a lot more respect for their unconscious mind because it is running their life. And when you learn how to access it and you learn how the system works, that's what we teach in our school, is so people can understand the whole system. So now you know how to fix it and rewire it and change it. Not fix. I don't like using that word because
once you see it, you can improve it. You can download the new program.
Exactly. And then you have that tool and skill to use for yourself for life and for your loved ones. And so it creates a beautiful ripple effect.
Hello, I am interrupting this podcast with a very exciting announcement. My brand new book, Energize Your Happiness, Tap into Your Personal Energy and Shape Your Destiny, is now available during the soft launch for the month of November at energizeyourhappiness.com. If you have ever found yourself saying, I just don't feel like myself, I want to get back to feeling like myself again, this book is for you. It is a guide to coming home to yourself, to get beneath the stress and the noise and all those external distractions that are sapping your energy, that are taking your energy, that are wasting your energy, and to refocus you on what's important. I call them energy rules. I give Energizio exercises. And in my 25-year career, I have helped thousands of people shift their mindset, restore their energy, and rewrite the story of their life one intentional choice at a time. I also promise you this doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to push so hard to be happy. You just have to learn to harness and connect with the energy that is already within you. I am so excited. This book has been a labor of love, a decade in the making. My heart and soul and blood and tears is in this book, and I really can't wait. I'm so proud of it, and I want to share it with you. So please go to energizeyourhappiness.com, buy the book, get it as a gift, share the link with others, make it a great day. Write your outcome, and let's go back to the podcast. So I want to ask how it's impacted your life. I'm 25 years in business in August, but I really owe my awakening to Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul and Success Principles. I worked with him in '97 in Santa Barbara, California. And it was the first time anyone even introduced to me that I had a different choice. I could look at life a different way. I could do something different. And I remember he paired us up with people and we had to talk about our goals. And at the time, my goals were kind of like get married, buy a house, have 1.2 children and live happily ever after. And, this other guy had these really big goals. And I was like, oh my gosh, nope. I was doing what my parents did. I was repeating the pattern. Love my parents dearly. But it really opened my eyes and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. So I want to ask each of you, and Billie, go first, and then Melissa, how has this shifted your life and the results you're getting and the outcomes you're writing, if I tie it into the title of the podcast.
It has shifted every aspect of my life. I mean, I was in a very dark place, left my marriage, I had to leave my family because of it. It was not a good place. I was stuck in a job I wasn't happy in. And it was all my own limiting beliefs. And, when you talk about childhood programming, I was following what I was told. Girls aren't independent. Girls aren't successful. Girls aren't entrepreneurs. So I was never successful because my programming always sabotaged me every time I wanted to start something. Ever since I started this work 2 years ago, and Melissa's part of one of them, 3 companies I've taken to 6 figures in the first year because now I know that I'm worthy of this. I know I'm capable of this. I am now financially free. I do this work because I want to. I could spend the rest of my life on a beach if I want to now. And it happened within a year and a half.
And it speaks to that it can be fast. And that's what I want to really hammer home with people.
And I just put in my resignation letter after 20 years of policing.
And we need a hell yeah, where's the easy button?
Yeah, right. I'm turning 50 this year, all before 50. It doesn't have to be, you got to wait till 65 and wait for the pension. Because again, my parents, even to this day, are you sure you want to give up that job? You got a good pension, you got good benefits. And now the whole world has opened up. And now when I used to think, well, I just want $6,000 a month and I'll be happy. And then to 10,000. And now I can get to 100,000 a month. And now I'm thinking, well, who says I can't do more? It's only me. It's nobody else that says you can't make this amount of money. And it's not the money. It's more about me breaking my own glass ceiling. And, Melissa and I are very philanthropic, and we have a nonprofit called Girls Matter, having, girls just go to school, get basic rights of education. We want to create a foundation so that we can provide scholarships for those that can afford to come through our school, that still coming through will help them. I have obviously a soft spot for single moms. Being a police officer, I've seen how women feel stuck in their lives because of that financial piece. So I'm really big on helping people, women specifically, achieve financial freedom. And it's not as hard as people think it is. The programming says that it's hard. That's why we love the easy button. Because who said it has to be hard?
Every client of mine, yes, every new client when I'm coaching gets an easy button. I work in corporations, and that's the whole thing, is to make it easy. I want to get to you, Melissa, but you said so many good things, Billie. You said it's your own limiting beliefs. You're breaking your own glass ceiling. We're all getting in our own way, and it can be fast. And the money is great. And I always say the money helps you do good things in the world, right? So you shouldn't be ashamed of the money, because now it helps you be philanthropic. It helps you have a life you want, and you get to help others. And instead of repeating the pattern, and my dad, the same thing. I don't think he really realized what I did sometimes, because he just wanted me to, why don't you get that job with benefits? And all these years I was out here doing this. So again, anybody listening, what I love about what these 2 fabulous women are saying is you have power, and you could take a step today, and you could start rolling that, I could say, the proverbial snowball in the direction of the life you want to create, and not keep playing that same loop over and over. So Melissa, how has this shifted your life?
Michele, I just want to, because this is something that we have noticed especially when it comes to this industry about healers and people wanting to make a difference, that for some reason there's some kind of negative emotions attached to money. And we always say to our students and our practitioners, let money be the symbol of your service in the world. And I'm getting full goosebumps right now, because money is just a symbol. It is nothing more than that. And our motto is get big to give big. And that's why we want to become successful, so that we can give back more. And so anyone that has limiting beliefs around money, or thinks that they can't make that, because the first time, our practitioners charge $5,000. The first time someone pays you $5,000, your own limiting belief gets smashed. Right? And now we can go higher and higher and higher. So thank you. I just wanted to add that in there before you.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And Melissa, I'm going to get to you, but now you're sparking more exciting conversation. It's realizing that seeing the same topic in a new way. And believe me, I've had my money issues. I've talked about it on past podcasts. I moved out to the Hamptons 7 years ago. Oh my God, every money issue from my childhood came up. I hired a money coach. But it's reframing how you look at it. So you really made a good point there. So thank you. And Melissa, tell us how this has impacted your life.
Well, it's so fascinating how we are guided by the universe when we allow ourselves to be. And so I was guided into NLP initially in my health coaching, and it was taught very differently. And I loved what I was learning. However, I wasn't able to put it into practice. And then I was guided into reading books, and I was reading those books, and I was starting to figure out so much is all about what's going on between our ears, right? Our thoughts, whether we think we can or we think we can't, we're right. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Me too.
And this work led me into doing the training again in a really experiential way. And that's how Billie and I offer ours, is all the gaps that we experienced coming through, we fill so that our students get the best outcomes from our courses. And for me, what it led me to, first of all, was finding my sister in mission in our NLP trainers training and connecting immediately, and learning later we've done this in past lives together, which further grounds us in the fact that we are in our purpose, in our mission now, and we have so much fun doing this together. And last year, I had a very scary cancer diagnosis of metastatic malignant melanoma. And this work allowed me to stand in my power and choose the way that I was going to go through that healing, not follow the medical model, because I had the tools to do this holistically, all of which are taught in our training programs. And I used timeline therapy to release the doubt, to release the fear that I didn't know enough compared to the doctor, and do it my way. And I'm standing here today fully thriving, healthy, having had a plastic surgeon and an oncological surgeon who, from the moment I came out of that surgery and was doing all my follow-ups, were shocked at how quickly I was healing. And it wasn't shocking to me because I didn't put any of the toxins in my body that they wanted to. And I did it my way. And I showed them there is another way. And that was why I went through this, so that I could get out there and share my story and inspire others and let people know that there's more than one way to heal.
This whole conversation is so important for anyone listening. Is there's always another way. Everything is figure outable. I always say, unless it's over, when it's not over till it's over, kind of thing. But conversations about past lives, about spirituality, it's opening your mind to everything that's out there. I believe that we come back to this life in soul groups with, people that were in our past lives and soul groups. And the reading, I think you hit on that also. So it's opening your mind to all the different things that are out there, and then reading things that maybe are uncomfortable to you, maybe are not in your mainstream, and realizing that there's other ways to look at things. I always say you're never stuck. There's always another way to look at it. So again, thank you for opening our eyes to this new way of looking at things. So it's really clear to me that you are, practicing what you preach, so to speak, and you've gotten great results in your life. With that said, life still tends to pull the rug out from under us. I mean, you talked about your cancer diagnosis, but what I want to talk about is, what are the habits? One of my first books was Happiness is a Habit. And my new book and my podcast is Write Your Outcome. So my belief is that no matter what happens in life, you get to write the outcome. So I would love each of you to tell me, what are your go-to habits for getting yourself back to center, maybe after getting really bad news or having a bad day, or, when kind of life, the carpet gets pulled out from under you?
Well, we teach, the concept of what we teach is moving from victim island over to solution city. And, life's going to get you down. It's just, that's the whole purpose of life. Because if it was just flatline, we wouldn't grow, right? The whole purpose is for us to grow and evolve. And the way we grow is through these trials and tribulations that, life throws at us. And so it's a matter of, okay, when your life throws something at you, gets you over here to victim island, now how quickly can you get back over here to solution city where your power is? That's what in NLP, being at cause as opposed to being at the effect of life, where life is happening to you as opposed to happening for you. So for me specifically, and this is what we teach for our students as well, everybody, is do a timeline therapy session cleanup every month. That's your monthly self-care. That's clearing any limiting beliefs that come up. I just did one the other day with Melissa because I had something happen in my life and it really shocked me to my core. Now, normally that would have taken me out of the game for a long time. Whereas, I called up my sister and, fellow practitioner and said, hey, I have this limiting belief that now I can't move forward from this. Can you please blast this out for me? And that's what we do. And it's almost like this tool belt. Now, what tool do you need now to get you back? And when we start this work, we always say that when you're at Victim Island, and I used to own a lot of property here. I sold it all. I'm over here in Solution City, beachfront property now. I started with a little rowboat. The first time you do it, it's going to be a little bit harder, right? Not harder. It's going to take more effort. We don't like saying that things are hard. It's just that you have to put the effort in. And now every time you do it, now I got the shiny red speedboat that when I get over here, first of all, I know it doesn't feel good here, because my vibration goes lower, right? It's all about energy and frequency. My energy gets lower, so I know I don't feel good. And so now how quickly can I get back in my shiny red speedboat, get back over here, use the skills, reach out to my lifeline. That's why community is huge. Our timeline, our light circle community is very, very huge. We're very proud of that community, because life will come. It's not a matter of, that whole saying in life.
Do we have time for you to walk us through a little bit of timeline therapy, like the process, and then tell us about the circle that you just talked about?
Yeah, the timeline
process. Is it something you could do on an interview like this, or is it?
No. And it's because it takes some setting up, because we do a very first assessment before we go there. Because when the timeline, and it's like every technique, we always say this, it takes way longer to explain it. The techniques are actually really fast, because neurology is super fast and the unconscious mind works really fast. All that does is like, say it takes 5 minutes, for example. What I was saying, like I reached out to Melissa. I'm like, hey, I need this limiting decision. That's what we call an LD. Can you blast this out for me? And so she took me through that. It's a very specific script. Now, for example, anxiety, we do this on our podcast, but this is what the whole clear the screen is if you start thinking about something that hasn't happened yet, that's what anxiety is. Now, if we can shift it, clear the screen to go from the horror show back to the love story of how, if you're imagining it going wrong, you can imagine it going right. And that's the anxiety clearing exercise, the protocol. So our YouTube channel has tons of demos if anyone ever wants to learn about it, the clear the screen. And that's what our community is about. So we have a membership where people can come monthly, and, sometimes you just need to pay, like you go to the gym to come and do your monthly, because you won't go on your own. Right. And so we created this membership where people can come in, and now Melissa and I will actually do the guided clearing. And then we do the guided timeline therapy sessions as well, until people get their spiritual legs. And now, they can keep doing it on their own. We're very big on not creating codependency. We're very big on creating empowerment. Yet when life gets you down, you have this community to hold you and, lift you back up, because sometimes life can get you down. So that's how I do it. And we do something called magnified healing, which is also another light healing that we do a morning practice. And we also teach that as well. And it's something we offer after people go through our program. There are some prerequisites, because it's a very powerful realm that we
And is your YouTube channel just Clear the Screen?
It's Amplify Impact Academy.
Okay. Yes. I just want to make sure we have that.
And you can find the Clear the Screen demo playlist. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Melissa, what are some habits that you might use?
So mine are very similar, because our trainings are similar, and we do what works, and we know this works. And so, yes, I start every day with my magnified healing practice. That's grounding in to myself and tuning in to my higher self and what downloads are coming into me on any particular day. And then, yes, using my toolbox. So, that moment when I found out about my diagnosis, and then I had to go meet with the oncological surgeon, and she told me, well, we have to take out lymph nodes, and you have to flood yourself with some blue toxic stuff first to determine which lymph nodes are coming out. And that's going to determine your radiation and chemotherapy. And all of that in my head in the moment, I was like, well, I'm not doing radiation and chemo anyway, period, full stop. So then I don't need to follow all these steps. And I was very strong in the moment. And then driving home for 2 hours by myself, when the thoughts come in, right? I noticed the fear right away. And I knew the fear wasn't going to serve me, because I have this training and I have this understanding of how our unconscious mind works and how our body works. And so immediately I went to my tools, because I knew I was going towards Victim Island, and I didn't want to go there, and it wasn't going to serve me. And so, the most powerful question we ask to get off Victim Island is, how is this happening for me? And for someone who's just had a cancer diagnosis, they might be like, what? It's not happening for you. And yet it is, right? And so that was the question that I asked. And then the message was, so you have a more powerful healing story to share with others. Beautiful. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I'm getting full body truth bumps here now. And so, yes, it's all about, we have all of these tools, powerful tools of the unconscious mind that we are not taught in the school system. We're only ever taught there the conscious mind. And the unconscious mind, as I said earlier, is literally the other 90%. when we have these tools, it allows us to go through life in sixth gear, using the easy button, in a place of joy and fulfillment, because we recognize that everything is available to us. We need to determine what it is that we want and focus on that. Yeah. And life will happen, as you said. If we've rewired our programming and life happens, guess what? New behaviors happen based on the new programming. We don't get thrown back to the old programming from childhood. And so that's the importance of updating our programming as we go through life, because then our behaviors follow who we've become and who we're becoming.
So powerful. You have really opened our eyes to so many tools that are available for people to, I like what you say, get from victim island to solution paradise, I forget what it was called, quicker. And it really is about doing the work. I saw a great post the other day. It said, yeah, I manifested this, but I did the work.
Yes.
So it really is about committing to every time you get emotionally hijacked, knowing there's a different way you could behave and the different behaviors that you're speaking of, Melissa. And every time you practice it, it gets, your time between the two places gets shorter and you're able to rebound quicker. So thank you for all of this fabulous information. Let us know, tell us about your podcast, where people can find you, anything you want to promote right now before we go so everyone can follow you.
Well, our website is Amplify Impact Academy. We have all our programs, everything listed there. We do have our YouTube channel as well. We have LinkedIn. We're on social media like Instagram, Facebook. We do monthly workshops, free workshops called Meet Your Unconscious Mind. Because again, let's just do a meet and greet first and get you even understanding what your mind does for you. And then you can take, so all our programs really build on each other. And we do that monthly. We have 1-day workshops. We have 2-day workshops. We always want people to have options of how far they want to take it. And, we're doing our master trainer training as well so that we can eventually train trainers and grow our academy. Because again, we really want this out there. We want this in schools. We have teachers coming through our programs. We have nurses. We have a psychiatrist in this cohort, because everybody knows that there's a missing link there. They know that there's got to be something more to it. There's got to be an easier way. And I honestly, truly, from the heart of my heart, believe that timeline therapy is the wave of the future. It's only kind of the turn of the century when we really started bringing it out. And I think this next wave of what we call light workers, I didn't think I was a light worker, and here I am, right? I was a cop for 20 years. They're coming online. And I think, as you mentioned, the soul groups were coming together. That's why Melissa and I came together. Day one of our training, we said, hey, you want to do this together? Cool. And now we know why. It was instant. And these connections, even our connection with you now, we're speaking this language, and I think there's more people seeking it. And I think these tools and techniques are just an easy way for me, in my mind, to connect the woo to the science.
Yes, and really, I would say there's nothing woo about it. It's
is not.
There is.
And you know what I
say? I do the same thing. I say woo. I'm like, no, there's research and science. I have to remind myself there's research and science behind this.
This 3D world is the woo-woo. The reality is actually up there. And the more higher you can go up into the quantum field, the more you'll realize, I always say this, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. I'm actually working towards, I just got my Bachelor of Metaphysical Science.
Congratulations.
I'm working towards my doctorate. And the more you realize how we fit into the greater cosmic, I don't even know, plan, it really humbles you. And it really makes you realize that, you know what? Life doesn't have to be hard. It's not meant to be hard. If it's hard, you're doing it wrong.
And each of us is needed. I say this is light workers unite. Like, we need every single one of us right now to be out there helping people manage their nervous system, lessen their anxiety, realize there's another way to do life. So thank you, Billie. Melissa, is there anything that she left out that you want to add?
Yes, I'm really excited to say that our podcast called Clear the Screen is actually the trailer launched today on the day of this recording.
So many things to celebrate.
Yeah, by the time the audience gets this episode, we'll have a few episodes out, depending how soon this comes out. It is called Clear the Screen, and in that podcast, we do demos of Clear the Screen. We have our own teaching segments, and we have initially interviews with authors of a collaborative book that we have created, as well as a fundraiser for our Girls Matter nonprofit, featuring a myriad of different people who all have their own stories of moving from Victim Island to Solution City. It's a book of hope, of inspiration, and we're bringing those chapters onto the podcast as well. So you can read the book, you can listen to the podcast, you can do both. The book will launch on December the 8th.
Oh, congratulations. You have so many things going on. I love the idea of the book. It brings me full circle to Jack Canfield, because his first book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, was just a book of little short stories about people that overcame things. And it sounds like you're doing a very similar thing, but I just remember how much it lifted me and it changed everything. So anyone listening to this podcast right now, please follow them on Instagram, go to their YouTube page, go find their website and learn about this fabulous technology. Thank you so much, both of you. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you. And that's it today. This is Michele Phillips, and Write Your Outcome.